So I started with the next Torah portion, Miketz, and it's about Yahweh commanding Israel to get olive oil for the lighting of menorah so it can burn always. Now the first thing to note here is that the commandment was given to Israel. In Leviticus we read about the priesthood who have the task in maintaining the menorah and pouring the oil in, trimming the wicks, and looking after the things within the holy place. And it was only the priesthood who were allowed inside the holy place. The other thing we learned last week was that they had to cleanse themselves at the laver. Otherwise, if they enter into the holy place, they will die. We also looked at the concept last week of the holy place being the second stage of the mountain, and that the tabernacle is a replica of the mountain. It's like a portable mountain that's moving with them. And on top of the mountain, we had the origin of the mishpatim, the davar, the words that were spoken, that comes from the voice of Yahweh, the one who is referred to as a consuming fire. We also saw, when we looked at the menorah, the flame ash means fire, flame, and also foundation. So the foundation of Yahweh, or our perception of Him, is based on the foundation of fire. Very interesting concept. Now, have you ever thought of Yahweh as fire, as flame? That's not to say that we make a fire and we worship the fire. That's not what it is. It's symbolic. And the symbolism of fire, or what fire actually is in relation to us, is we'll find attributes of what Yahweh is in relation to us. Now, in this week's Torah portion, I looked at the olive oil and the olives. I'm still studying that, and there's a lot in there. The one thing that stood out is in 1 Kings, the building of the temple by King Solomon, who started in the 4th year of his reign and ended in the 11th year of his reign, and it lasted for 7 years. Now, what we also discovered last week was the concept of 6, 7, and 8, where 7 is the gift, the parashah, the 7th one in Shemot is the gift. Now the 8th one is this Torah portion, which is about new beginnings. It's about understanding things on a new way, in a new way. Now, what the number 7 represent is the translation of 6 into 8, or physical into spiritual. 8, if you put it on its side, makes the infinity sign, which means eternity, or Chai Ulam, which is the realm above time. So 7 depicts the cycles of 7, and it also depicts the sun, moon, and stars, and the cycles of the heavenly bodies that set times and seasons. So the barrier of time is related to the 4th day of creation, and you see the connection with the 4th year of Solomon's reign. Now the tabernacle is in the same realm of number 7, in the same realm of the 4th day, and it sits between heaven and earth, or number 8 and number 6. And we need to engage with the sevens, everything that has to do with 7, in order to be translated into a higher dimension, or into a higher being, where we came from prior to sin that came into the world, that brought us into the level of number 6, or the physical. We also looked at the idea of, this is a couple of Torah portions back, of the king of the north, king of the south. King of the south is Egypt. Egypt means lack and desire. north means treasures or hidden things that are actually the solution to the problem of lack and desire. So you'll find treasures in heaven, which is King of the North. It comes from above. And the desire or the need is in realm of number 6. So how do we access things above, things in heaven? You access it through the cycles of 7, as well as the tabernacle, which sit in the same realm. So that's just a bit of a background on where the tabernacle is situated, connected to Solomon and the building of the temple, and it still harmonizes with all of those ideas. Now, the reason I lay this foundation is because it follows the storyline where Yahweh drawn our attention to the supernatural realm, which is on the mountain, where they sat at a table where the floor was made with sapphire. Now, if you go on the mountain, there's no floor made of sapphire and there's no furniture. So it had to be a spiritual dimension that they entered into. And the holy place is associated with that. And then the Holy of Holies, it said that Moses was called out of the cloud, which is the holy place, or the place where the table is, of the Council of Elohim, into the presence of Yahweh, where he received the blueprint of the tabernacle as well as the tablets of stone. So what this gives us the idea is that they are connected. They are given at the same time within the same context. So the 10 words started the process, and it continues until now, when Moses was still on the mountain receiving the blueprint of the tabernacle. And it will be concluded once he bring down the tablets of stone. So that whole process is the davar, or the words of Yahweh, that are required to govern the people and to reveal himself to them as Elohim, or Yahweh Elohim, and also to reveal the leadership of Israel and reveal the government system for the nation of Israel that is required. Now, what is interesting is that First Kings talk about the oracle. When you enter the oracle, you'll see the cherubim and where the Holy of Holies furniture and artifacts are, which is the Ark of the Covenant. And that oracle is the word deber, which comes from the root word davar, that means words. And that gives us the idea that the Holy of Holies and the Holy Place are in a higher dimension that we can only talk about, because the people outside in the outer court, they could only hear about it. They didn't see it. But the high priest was the only one who could see it. In the same way, Yeshua is the one that could enter. He's the only one who could see it. And we are the ones who hear about it. And it's a spiritual realm. So everything that's spoken is spiritual. That's not physically visible. So I want to leave you with that thought. We're going to continue this thought process moving on. It's a very exciting topic, and I guess there's going to be a lot more to discuss. So I hope you have a lovely day. Shalom.